The next one is the aromatic amino acid tryptophan. So here you can see this is a tryptophan molecule and it is having a benzene ring and a pyrrole ring. These two are togetherly called as indole ring. So you can see it is having a benzene group, right? So it is an aromatic amino acid. It is an essential amino acid because synthesis it requires more than 7 steps. So it is an essential amino acid. It is both glucogenic and ketogenic phase. This tryptophan is having both catabolic and anabolic phase. The catabolic phase it will be ketogenic as well as glucogenic. Okay. In the anabolic phase it will be converted into niacin or melatonin and serotonin. So here you have to remember the key enzymes. The key enzymes for niacin synthesis is QPRTase. Niacin is vitamin B6, okay? And for the synthesis of melatonin and serotonin, the key enzyme is tryptophan hydroxylase. So we will go into it detail. First I am giving you an overview. Discussing about the catabolic phase. This is also called kynurenine anthranilate pathway. So the tryptophan it will be converted into N-formyl kynurenine by the action of the enzyme tryptophan pyrrolase. This is a heme containing enzyme. This N-formyl kynurenine it will be converted into kynurenine in the presence of folic acid. So the N-formyl group of kynurenine it will be released and the THFA will take that and it eventually convert into formyl DHFA. This kynurenine it becomes 3-hydroxykynurenine. So it is a hydroxylase, right? That is kynurenine hydroxylase. This is requiring NADPH. So this 3-hydroxykynurenine it will be converted into 3-hydroxyanthranilate. The enzyme acting is kynureninase. The vitamin involved is pyridoxal phosphate vitamin B6. In the same reaction, sometimes alanine will be alanine will be released. This alanine will go to synthesize glucose. So it is having glucogenic phase. This 3-hydroxyanthranilate it will be going to synthesize NAD plus or it catabolize to ketogenic phase. So this is an anabolic phase, okay? The rate limiting enzyme for NAD plus synthesize NAD plus is QPRTase. It is a rate limiting enzyme of this reaction. So the QPRTase is quinolinate phosphoribosyl transferase. 60 mg of tryptophan. To synthesize 1 mg niacin, we require 60 mg of tryptophan. If there is a deficiency of vitamin B6 or pyridoxal phosphate, the kynureninase will not be functioning effectively. So 3-hydroxykynurenine will be increased. This will be eventually converted into xanthurenic acid and the xanthurenic acid will be excreted through the urine. So in that case the synthesis of NAD plus will be reduced. That is synthesis of niacin will be reduced. So there will be pellagra like symptoms. The anabolic phase is a synthesis of serotonin. This tryptophan it will be converted into 5-hydroxytryptophan. So it is a hydroxylase. So tryptophan hydroxylase. So NADPH is required and tetrahydrobiopterin BH4 is also required. This 5-hydroxytryptophan it will be converted into 5-hydroxytryptamine. That means a carbon dioxide is released. So it is a decarboxylase. That is aromatic amino acid decarboxylase. So this 5-hydroxytryptamine is a actual serotonin. This will be eventually degraded in our body and it becomes 5-hydroxy-indole acetic acid. So the degradation product of serotonin is 5-hydroxy-indole acetic acid. The serotonin function as a neurotransmitter. Okay, it is a vasoconstrictor. It is involved in temperature regulation in our body. So it is a mood elevator. So we are using certain types of drugs such as serotonin reuptake inhibitor drug for depressed patients. It also increases the GI motility. The site of synthesis of tryptophan of serotonin is arginine cells. The arginine cells which is present in intestine, mast cell, brain, platelet. The next one is melatonin. It is synthesized in pineal gland. So the serotonin, it will be converted into acetyl serotonin. This acetyl serotonin, it will be converted into methyl acetyl serotonin. So S-adenosyl methionine will be converted into S-adenosyl homocysteine. So a methyl group will be transferred. Okay, this methyl acetyl serotonin is called melatonin. Okay, this is involved in biological rhythm of our body, and it also acts as neurotransmitter. Relating to arginine cell, there is a tumor which is called carcinoid tumor or carcinoid syndrome. It is called argendafinoma. If that is a tumor of arginine cells, so there will be increased level of serotonin, but there will so as tryptophan is used to synthesize more and more serotonin, the synthesis of niacin will be decreased. So what are its common clinical features? The clinical features are intermittent diarrhea. It is because the serotonin is involved in GI motility. So an increase in the level of serotonin indicate the GI motility will be increased and it will lead to intermittent diarrhea. There will be cutaneous flushing. In some books it is said that this serotonin is also having at certain conditions vasodilation effect, and that is the consequence of this cutaneous flushing. But but in other textbooks it is said that the increased level of tachykinins, uh, it is a consequence of this cutaneous flushing. So there will be increased sweating and there is fluctuating hypertension. And so as there is decreased niacin, it shows pellagra like symptoms. So what are its diagnosis? So the level of serum serotonin will be increased. The degradation product 5-hydroxyindole acetic acid in a 24-hour urine sample, it will also be increased. Normal level is less than 5 grams per day. Okay. Now Hartnupp's disease. So if there is a defect in absorption of tryptophan and other neutral amino acid from the intestine and the renal tubule, it leads to the Hartnupp's disease. In the Hartnupp's disease, so here I am taking the intestine. So the tryptophan absorber, there is a channel protein which is called as B0AT protein channel, which is involved in the absorption of tryptophan in the intestine. So this is encoded by a gene SLC6A19 gene. It is encoded by this gene. So as the tryptophan is not absorbed, it will be converted into the bacterial enzymes will act from the intestine and it will be converted into intoxyl compound such as indigo blue and indican. This intoxyl compound will be taken into the systemic circulation and it will be eventually taken into the renal circulation. From there it will be excreted through the urine, and there is a show of blue diaper. The blue diaper is due to the indoxy blue. So in cells, as the tryptophan is not absorbed, it will be, so there will be a decrease in tryptophan, right? So the level of serotonin and the level of niacin will be decreased. So there will be neurological manifestations because serotonin is a neurotransmitter, and there will be a wide based gait intermittent ataxia. The most common symptom, it is a cutaneous photosensitivity, because as the niacin is decreased, there will be photosensitive dermatitis. Okay. The diagnosis is Obermeyer test, which is a test for indican. The treatment is we have to give supplement of NAD plus, and we can give lipid soluble esters of tryptophan. So the next syndrome is Drummond syndrome. Okay. In this, B0AT1 is defective in intestine. So the blue diaper syndrome, it is more highlighted in this Drummond syndrome. So that's all about tryptophan metabolism.